New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here come the girls. It's more than practical. Here come the girls. Way more than merely factual. If you want to know the secrets of a life that's free, listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
Hello, and welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. I'm Robyn Rice Olmsted.
I'm Dr. Natasha Wilson, and we are, as Robyn said, Girls Behaving Metaphysically, where we look at the spiritual in the everyday experiences of life. How are you today, Robyn?
Let me check in. I am, it's such a good question. It's funny. Okay, so it's funny that you asked that like that, because when you did, it reminded me the other day I was talking with a friend, and she had a friend of ours. I said to a friend of ours, "How are you?" And she said, "Don't ask me that." And she did the same thing to her. And then she went on to explain, because I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because I don't like it when people ask that. They don't really care. And that shouldn't be their first question." And so my friend said to her, "Well, what should we say?" She said, "You can say, 'How's it going?' Or, and I'm thinking, why? If I don't care how you are, why am I going to care how's it going?" Right? I mean, they're all conversation starters. And so, like, really, when I check in, it's like, it's good because it gives me a minute to land. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Really go, oh, because I don't need to tell people not to ask me something. I assume if you're asking me whether it's for you or for me, I'm going to take the moment to find out and answer your question. So, how am I?
How are you?
A long way around that. No, but you know what I mean? It's just interesting about what people do with conversation and all of that.
No,
I'm really good. I'm just so busy. I'm so busy that, like, I don't know where I am half the time. I feel like I'm spinning. I know you feel like that sometimes too.
Yeah, sometimes. I don't feel like that right now. I feel really grounded right now. I feel, I don't know. I feel really grounded in ways that I can't say that I always feel, but I do.
Good.
Yeah. It is interesting because, like, my clients are the same. When I ask my clients, like, how are you doing? Like, they answer me in the generic way, that same sense where, we ask that, but we're really not interested in how, but I'm like, no, I'm really interested in how. So when I ask, right, like, I really mean it. Like, I want to know, how are you?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good topic in and of itself, because I think there's so many things in probably in every language and everywhere that we've just gotten so used to as part of the, tradition of how we greet each other or what we do, that we don't really stop to pay attention to what we're asking or what it means. Or, I mean, not everyone, not everywhere, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
Where are we fully present? Can we be fully present in those moments? So I'm so glad to say, here we are, fully present.
Yeah. Fully present.
Yes.
And what that means. Yeah. it just has me also like I told you I've been thinking a lot about consciousness. I think I shared this with you. Maybe it was last week that I finally got, or maybe it was the week before last. Like I finally understand why prayer is important, you know, because it is like this making this conscious contact with source, with all there is, with the divine. Yeah. So being present really is about being deeply conscious. So yeah.
Well, and I would add to that, when, you know, making contact with the divine, and when aren't we doing that?
Exactly. Yeah, but sometimes, you know, we're always doing it. I think that's the paradox of existence. It's like, yes, we're always doing it, and we can be conscious in doing it, and we can be unconscious in doing it.
Right.
And prayer is when we're consciously doing that. And the goal is to live a prayerful life. So where we are always in that consciousness, making that conscious contact, you know?
Yes. But to play the flip side of that, if we truly believe that every thought we have is truly a prayer, because the universe doesn't know the difference between when you go put your hands like this or, you know, what you do. So your thoughts are prayers.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's always, to me, I think, what has occurred to me is that it's always about becoming aware. Right. Because we're like the mind, the Buddhists call the mind the monkey mind for a reason, because it's always thinking. It's thinking this, it's thinking that, you know, and sometimes it's hard to catch a thought. And I was sharing with the client that, you know, it's easier to catch a feeling because feelings tend to linger. Thoughts tend to happen really quickly, but feelings have this tendency to linger. And so when we can catch the feeling, we can then get aware of what we're thinking. And then if we don't like how we're feeling, we can choose conscious to think another way, and then generate different feelings. And so, yeah, every thought is a prayer. And it's why consciousness is so important, because, who knows? I don't know.
Right. Lord. And consciousness also, I mean, really so busy being conscious of what you're thinking.
Can I say hi to Amanda, who's joining us from New Zealand?
You just did?
Hi, Amanda. I know. I can't wait to see you in New Zealand. I want to bring Robyn with me. You'll love her.
Yeah, I was going to say hi to her even before she popped up there, because I can see a couple people out there watching us. So hello out there to Brian and all of you out there. Please put your name in the chat and let us know you're there. We love to know where you're tuning in from, and just say hello. But we see you, we feel you, we're glad you're there. Yeah. So hi Amanda, thanks for coming. So are we going to feature a mixed drink of the week? It's on its way. We since we're putting the spirit back in spiritual, one of us will have to have a mixed drink and the other one will have to have a smoothie of the week or something. Since Natasha, for those of you who don't know, is on another continent. She is in Australia, while I am in the United States in California. So we are hours and hours and days away. My Tuesday, her Wednesday, her morning, my evening. So she says she can't drink that early, but I'm holding down the fort for both of us.
You hold down the fort.
Cheers.
Cheers. I have Australia's purest. It says Australia's purest water in a BPA-free plastic bottle. So there you go.
There you go. So, so let's pull a card. So for those of you who haven't been here, thank you. It is 5:00 somewhere. This is what we like to do. We like to pull our metaphysical cards and see what our topic will be today.
Yes. And before I pull the card, I just want to invite, if you're watching, please share the stream. Please share it to your Instagram, share it to your Facebook. we are trying to be a little bit more, at least I'm trying to be a little bit more present with letting folks know that we're doing this show. And so please share it across your social media platforms. So like us, share, comment, do all that really good stuff. We appreciate it. Okay, so I am going to pull. I think I'm gonna pull a card. At some point, I had to stop shuffling, right? I like the shuffle part. Let's see. What do we get today? Aha, I think you're gonna like this one, Robyn.
Give it to me.
Play.
Wow.
And it's
Nice.
women dancing under the moon. Look at that.
That was great.
I love it. I love it. I love it. What does that bring up for you?
Well, that's kind of my motto. I think it's all play. So I love to remember that. I love to emphasize that in everything I do. Yeah. I mean, it just reminds me actually of prayer, because when I pray, I like to include that in it. I like it to be fun. I like it to be real. You know what I mean? And real for me usually has some aspect of play in it. So yeah, that's what it brings up for me. How about you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about how I don't play enough. But I have these daughters who always want to play. They always want to play. And I'm usually like, okay, give me a few minutes and then we'll play, or let me finish this and then we'll play. And yeah, it's like I'm surrounded by play, but I really don't play enough. So yeah. And I don't know, like spirit, like universe, consciousness, it's so, I don't know. I feel like the cosmos is a joke. I feel like life is a big play, a big comedy, sometimes a tragic comedy, but a comedy nonetheless, right? Like I'm having hot flashes right now and it's taking everything and I just don't start stripping, right? I'm like, who came up with this stuff? Like, this is like, this is funny. Like, it's kind of funny, even in all of it, the misery of it. So anyways, I don't play enough, but I think it's why I also do this show with you, because I want more play in my life. Right. I want more play. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because before I had kids, I used to think, oh my God, my kids are going to be like, Mom, can we please go to bed? We don't want to play anymore. Can you give us a space to do our homework? And it's literally like that. I mean, with my teenage godson, he's falling asleep at the table, and me and his mom are like, come on, let's just play one more round of cards. Let's just play one more game. And he's like, I gotta go to bed. So yeah, I mean, I know I'm all about balance, but yeah, so play is so important. And I just want to say, I loved what Amanda said when she saw the card. She said, that's us. And it is. I mean, it actually, the first thing I thought of was the women's retreat thing we were going to do with the grandmothers.
Yes.
That's what that circle reminded me of, because it's such a symbol of, ancestors and history and women and joy and.
I'm looking a little bit more deeper at the card too. And so I am going to be doing a retreat in New Zealand. And one of the things that I said to the organizers, like the venue, it has to be based in nature. And I'm looking at the card and there are trees and it's women joining hands, dancing under a full moon. And, I really think nature teaches us really how to play, how to not take ourselves seriously. And it's always why it's an important element of the retreats that I do. And I'm hoping our Girls Behaving Metaphysically retreats really hold that energy of play. So we're going on retreat to dive deep and to deeply play, you know? So yeah, that is us. That's us.
And I think for me, that's one of the only ways to go deep is for it to be play, because otherwise I think you go into fear, not you, but you know, people go into fear about the unknown and what they don't know. And then when you're going into exploration, you know, of yourself, of the situation, it's like, how can you not have, I mean, I think when we come back from the break, we'll talk about maybe some ways we can do this, but I think that, like, you know, you have to declare it, just play, you know, you have to, you know, you have to create a new map to get there, kind of thing.
Yes. I'm having a hot flash, y'all. Sorry about that.
If you're having a hot flash, it must be time for a break.
Okay, good, because I can take my shirt off. So hurry up. Go to break.
There you go. All right. So when we come back, we'll talk some more about play, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about our week, Natasha, and how that it looks like play, and lots of exciting things. Our week adventure with Marianne Williamson. Ooh.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That was so beautiful.
All right. Yeah. So we'll be right back here on New Thought Media Network.
Bring your friends. Come play with us.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here come the girls. It's more than practical. Here come the girls. Way more than merely factual. If you want to know the secrets of a life that's free, listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
And we are back.
Yes, we are.
Metaphysically. Dr. Natasha and Robyn Rice Olmsted here. Dr. Natasha promised she was taking off clothes, but it looks like she has the same things on.
I took them off. I put them back on because I was like, we're girls behaving metaphysically, not girls stripping. So, yeah.
Not girls nakedly?
Well, no, I mean, look, I got on a sports bra because I always intend to do yoga. I always intend to do yoga, so I have this tendency to have all my yoga clothes. So don't worry. If the shirt comes off, I have a sports bra on. It's all good. You don't have to cover your children's eyes. It's all good. Okay.
Okay, I don't think that's really the demographic we're hitting, but okay. we never know. So, okay. So our topic, our card that we pulled today was play.
Mm-hmm. And before we went to break, Robyn, you were saying that we should talk a little bit more about our week and our connection and contact and your week of play with Marianne Williamson for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, that it just brought up for me that it was, that to me, some of that was play. I mean, it was. I mean, so we arranged a Zoom call with Marianne Williamson. She was recently in New Mexico, and she wasn't able to go to my husband's center, and so she offered to do a Zoom call, and we made it basically for New Mexico, which extended to Natasha, and she's global.
Because I'm in New Mexico.
Well, that's part of girls behaving metaphysically. You never know where we'll be and how we'll be there. Our consciousness travels. That's what it's all about. And so we were on a call, and you want to talk about what they were talking about?
Well, the call in particular was about trying to, from what I recall anyway, sorry, I'm having, I don't know, the hot flashes are like happening today. Sorry, y'all. But trying to keep voters mobilized and engaged, particularly in New Mexico, because of the way the delegation, the New Mexican delegation works. So Joe Biden basically has won the Democratic primary, but there's still a way to influence his platform. And Marianne Williamson was talking about the importance of doing that and the importance of staying engaged. Yeah.
And I think just for full clarity, Marianne is no longer running for president. She's very clear that she is not running for president. And she is also still someone who is willing to be the voice of the people. And so she is very strong and convicted to what she believes. And, so it was a conversation just talking about that and what's going on. And go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I came in a little bit late on the call, but when I came in, Marianne Williamson was talking about the importance of like really prioritizing peace in our political and the political platform. And she shared also about, well, Robyn, you might be better at this. I mean, I know what I talked to her about, right? Which was my personal experience around feeling the social contract between United States and people like me, meaning women, people of color, people who did all the things we were supposed to do or told we're supposed to do to get a fair go at a life, at a good life, and how the people who are supposed to represent us in terms of government has failed around that. So, yeah, I'm feeling tripped up. So hop in, and then I'm gonna remember. And I know I'm sorry. I'm feeling tripped up because I'm having a hot flash, y'all. So, Robyn, jump in, please.
Okay.
And have a sip of drink. I know this makes you want to drink. I know. So just have a sip. Go ahead.
So, no, I think you were explaining it fine. I think you said what needed to be said. I mean, that was the conversation. And Natasha spoke up during that. And I mean, several people spoke up, and Natasha shared her experience. and her feelings and her views, and was so eloquent, and it was so poignant, and people were so moved, and it was a super moving moment. That's also, I mean, I was thinking that was, you were going to share part of that, and just the discussion around that. And,
Yeah. Part of what I shared, was about my brothers and my nephew, in terms of thinking about ways that the social contract had been broken. My two younger brothers were murdered in 2012, and one of them was a veteran who had served in the Iraq and Afghanistan and survived that for 8 years, and then came home to the United States to be gunned down with our other brother. And the way that gun laws, for instance, in the United States are so loose, to me is one of the ways I think the social contract is broken. The fact that my nephew was able to kill himself, who was going to be a U.S. Olympian, won the Junior Olympics in Vegas last year, set up to be an Olympian representing the United States, even here in Brisbane, because we're going to host the Olympics in 2032. And he was able to get access to a gun, and he killed himself in November. And so 3 beautiful young Black men from my family gone, in part because of the broken contract around mental health and healthcare, the broken contract around safety and the looseness of guns, the way that our politicians can be bought, And I shared with her how I was a delegate for Bernie in 2016, and I saw what happened to Bernie Sanders as a delegate. And I became very disillusioned in terms of politics, more disillusioned than normal. And the next year, I found myself living in Australia, and I made this decision that this is where I would rather make my home. And she was saying to keep my dual citizenship as opposed to relinquishing my U.S. citizenship, because we're still needed. We still have a responsibility to deliver a beloved community. And I can feel that. And it's why I support her, I support her. I support people like Bernie Sanders. It's why I understand that the political is personal, but also the political is spiritual. There really is no separation, and all we need to do is look to Dr. King and Gandhi to know that. Yeah. Like, we have a responsibility when it comes to politics.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the most beautiful telling things was after Natasha spoke, Marianne literally was silence and said, I hope that everyone was listening to each and every word that she said, that Natasha said, because this is the story and this is what's going on. And I think that, that is why it is so important to go vote, because it there's only so much we can do, and that is the place where we can take physical action. Yes, we can pray, and we can hold our community and our world, and in a spiritual light, and knowing the truth of it all. And going to vote is just so important. And
yeah,
I think, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I'd also shared with the group and with Marianne, when I was getting my certificate of citizenship 2 weeks ago, and I've been asked this not just by the person who was handing me my certificate, but by several people, like, what's the thing I'm most excited about in terms of being a new Australian? And I was like, I can't wait to vote. I can't wait to vote. And the thing about voting here is that it's compulsory. Voting is compulsory. Everybody has to vote. So, which is something that I wish were true in the US. And also, Robyn, you disappeared, and I'm not sure why. Are you still here? There you are.
That's the magic of producing.
I got nervous and lonely.
Well, you have to trust. You must trust that our producer has it all handled. He was tired of seeing me. So no, you're fine. Yeah. Well, I think though that so what comes up for me around all that, because that's such a serious subject, and I to me, looking at Marianne Williamson and having a little deeper insight, having been on these calls and in smaller circles with her, to me, she's like the quintessential girl behaving metaphysically.
Mm-hmm.
Because she is powerful and strong and committed, and she's wicked smart. She's so smart. I can't even explain to you how smart she is. I mean, she's, I would have loved to seen her in any debates because she doesn't need talking points. She talks from history and experience and what she knows and what she feels. And she's good. That's all I can say. But, and so I think that really speaks to what we're doing and what we're talking about, because people have this thing about, well, what's spiritual and how does it play into this place and that place? And it's this, I want to say it's the same with play. Like, so where is the play in all of that? Where does she find the play in doing that? Or where do we find the play in everything that's going on in the world? How do we make that a playground for change?
As you're saying that, it's just making me think. So one of the things that I admire about her, yes, she's the quintessential girl behaving metaphysically. One of the things I think that makes her that way is that she's willing to speak truth to power. She's willing to speak truth to power. She's willing to say the things that need to be said, but that because we want to play nicely, we don't. She's like, we can play, but we're going to play honestly, right? We can play, but we're going to play honestly. And, she's one of the only few candidates that has spoken openly about why it's important, why something like reparations is important, because we have a responsibility to restore the broken social contract, to restore the soul of America. And yeah, she plays, but she plays truthfully. She's not playing, and I think it's why she gets cut out of the political game the way that it's set up, because it's not set up to speak truth to power. The way the political game is set up, it's like a popularity contest in terms of who can raise the most money, which is kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not set up to speak truth.
No.
Period. Not even truth to power. It's just it's not set up that way, and I think, I mean, that's witnessed in this year's election, and in the fact that, I mean, I can't tell you how many people I know that didn't even know she was running and that don't know who she is.
Yeah.
I mean, I was surprised by it because I forget, because I'm in this metaphysical bubble with people who know her and have read her books and talk about Course of Miracles and things. So they're like, oh yeah, Marianne Williamson. But other people are like, who? And I'm like, oh my God. And some of them are my friends who are really involved in politics, like out being, doing the polling places and, all those things, but they had no idea who she is. And so I think that just speaks to, as she said, how squashed her message was this time around. Because this time around, we really didn't see her. We just knew because we're on the, inside, so to speak, metaphysically or whatever, spiritually. And, the last time, at least she was allowed to be in interviews or.
And political debates and. Yeah. And I've seen her, she's been so the media that I tend to watch when I do watch media, they've invited her on, and I've seen her on those media outlets, and they tend to be politically progressive. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sitting with this bigger question about power and play now. Power and play. And so it's like, how do we play while remaining in our power in the most truthful way that we can? How do we do things like engage in because that's what politics means. Literally, the definition of like politics. So poly, which is like is about power and people. And so, how do we play and use the power that we have? How do we do that, and how do we do that more earnestly? That's the question I'm sort of sitting with. And I feel like that's the question that Marianne left me with in my own heart. Yeah. Right. So she was also asking me, like, just not to tap out of being an American. Like, don't tap out of being an American, which for my generation in particular can be, a lot of us see what's going on in the world. We do believe our eyes. So the way media used to work in our lives, it just doesn't work that way anymore. We believe what we believe what we see.
Right.
And so, yeah, we're gonna have to get truthful with people if we want them to be engaged and to use their power to vote and in other ways as well. There are too many ways in which I think our society is sort of set up to disempower people. And I like to think that Girls Behaving Metaphysically is a platform where we learn and we connect together in our power to create change. Yes, through play, through the lightheartedness, yeah. Anyways, I feel like I'm going on a bit of a tangent now, so I'll stop talking. But yeah.
No, I think you're right. I mean, but that's the challenge. I mean, it's like, so many times people ask how do you see the God in this situation? How do you find how do you find where spirit is? And it's like, it's kind of the same question in a way. Where do you see the play in this situation? How can you make the play happen? And I just want to acknowledge that our producer was showing Marianne's new book, The Mystic Jesus, The Mind of Love. And I haven't read it, so I can't say anything about it. But what I do know about it is that when it was going to be released, it was right before the beginning of the campaign. She's like, I don't know how this will go. And we were like, well, maybe you'll get a whole new audience because you said Jesus, so who knows, it can only be perfect timing. So, but what I was thinking about specifically with kids, like I really have been working on, I'm really aware. I witness myself a lot, and I'm really aware how I react to my teenagers, because they give you such an opportunity to go back to your teenage years. And I can feel myself competing with them. I can feel myself going, when they go low, I go lower. It's like, because I'm like, I could, and so what I was thinking about the other day, I've been really trying, instead of just going, no, because sometimes I just want to say no because I'm mad at them and I don't want to. I don't want to. And so I was thinking about, how do I find the play in this? How can I make this situation not this, And so for me, it became my own game of, all right, when they ask me for something they want, which they know they can't have because they're grounded or something, it became play, not play, but you get the instinct. What I'm trying to say, it became my game to go, well, I would love for you to be able to go to your friend's house, and when you are able to not, you know, ditch class and get your grades up. That'd be a great thing to put on the list to have something to look forward to.
Mm.
You know, so instead of it becoming a no, I decided the game for me is yes and, you know, like the rules of improv. Yes, and when you, you know, do this, then the constant natural consequence will be you'll have more privileges, or you'll get to do this, or you'll get to do that. So in some ways, I don't know, it's kind of a game for me. It's kind of playful for me because I get to really, first of all, I get to breathe and acknowledge where I am, right?
Mm.
And go, look at this. And I get to watch and witness, you know, the younger Robyn, the in control Robyn. It's like, you know, I could take you out in a second and keep you locked in that room for weeks, you know, whatever's going on for me in the moment. But I get to really, you know, go back to that place of being a teenager, like, you know, because you're a teenager, you feel like it's never going to end, whatever it is, you know, that you're not getting. You're never going to get what you want. No one understands you. And so really being able to acknowledge and then, you know, give them something to look forward to.
You know, I'm thinking also like something that Marianne said that I wrote down, and I just saw it in my notes. And she said, if you have a clue at what changes the heart, you have a clue of how to change the world. And I when I think of, you know, so one of the things I do at my retreats is I do heart math sessions with people, which is just about heart mind coherence, right? Letting the heart help to regulate the nervous system, because the heart, in truth, the heart is the most ancient organ in the mammal. Okay, it is the very first organ to develop. It develops 3 times before the brain develops, like just in utero. So, and the thing that becomes the heart, you know, is that electric impulse that is sensed in the body of the pregnant person that then develops into the heart and then starts to send the signals to develop the brain. So the heart itself is the most ancient organ. The heart also has 3 times more neuroganglia than the actual, like this brain that we think is the only organ of perception. But what we've learned through heart-brain coherence studies is that the heart is an organ of perception. So it's a way to perceive the world, which is, I think, the message of Jesus. And when I think about Marianne's book, and perceiving the world through the heart. And the heart is our source of power, because when we let the heart lead the way in terms of that heart-mind coherence, that regulating of the brain, we drop into the heart and the brain gets regulated, then we are moving in real power. We're moving in heart-centered power, like courage. We're moving with courage. Courage, that, you know, the root word of courage is corre, which means heart. So if we can have a clue at what changes the heart, then we can change the world. And when I think about that with play, and I think about my daughters, okay, because again, they're the ones who are always inviting me into play. What I love about them is that they're always just so in the present moment. The present moment is like all that there is for them right now. Especially my little one, who Macy is differently abled in some ways. My baby's differently abled in some ways, but one of the ways that her different ability manifests itself is she really can't tell. She doesn't make meaning of our physical differences, because my daughter is probably the whitest child in Australia. I don't, like, the universe itself is a comedian in that way. Because when I thought about being a mom, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have this little brown baby and we're gonna wear a little Afro puffs together and I'm gonna be that cheesy mom and we dress alike. And then the universe delivers me literally the whitest kid that it could find. And my child literally cannot make without any meaning in our physical difference as a result of whatever this condition is that's still getting assessed. So it just blows my mind because she's so in her heart all the time. She's in her heart all the time. And it's how she connects with people, but it's also what makes her super vulnerable and also makes me want to protect her because she's always with heart. So I don't know. I'm just thinking, I'm thinking about what Marianne said, and then thinking about how do we play, and when we play, how do we stay in our power as we play, especially when our heart is at the center. Yeah, and so not only am I going to vote, and I will continue to vote, I feel like I'm going to continue to use my voice and to speak from my heart and to speak from the realness of my experiences, and to continue to feel the play in that, you know? Yeah, I feel like I go off on these little tangents, but I'm starting to just accept that's just kind of how I move a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw some comments, but that wanted me to read them, and I don't really know how to do that. I have to turn.
Okay. So we'll just, right now, we'll just say hello to Vignesh out there who had some comments there and saying hello to you.
Hi.
And this is Michael, handle it. He's got it going on.
Okay.
So anything you need to see, he'll put up or I'll put up. So don't worry.
I think I missed. Okay.
Yes. So, there you go.
Okay. I didn't know.
There you go. Vignesh says you're his angel.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, back to play. I just think, I think another thing that Marianne said the other day that stayed with me was from Course in Miracles was around setting boundaries, and that sometimes love says no. I love that when she said that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes love says no. And I think, can we say no and still be playing, still stay playful?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I think we have to have boundaries so that we know how to play. I think we have to have boundaries to know how to play. I think boundaries is what gives us freedom, really.
Yeah.
I just don't. Sure. I think boundaries are absolutely important. I think in a lot of ways she also embodies that. Like, so it seems like she got a no around being president this go, right? And perhaps that no is because there's a greater calling there. We have to have no's and we have to have boundaries.
Well, what I know about her is that it was not necessarily her intention to run for a second candidacy, but she got the calling, she said. And so I don't know that, I don't know that she ever, I think her running for presidency has so much more to do with the fact that she's willing to be out there and how she's been with the people and what she's been willing to do, as opposed to her being president. So I know we're closing down. We're getting close to time, and I'm just going to let you know that once again that Natasha is starting out her early morning over there in Australia, and I am here in California. And together we are Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
Yes.
And so that's who we are. That's what we're doing. And really, we're just looking at everything and everything from a lens of everything is spiritual and everything is metaphysical in that, you can find the metaphysical in everything.
Yeah.
So we're so glad that you've joined us. Thank you to Amanda from New Zealand, and I don't know where you're from, Vignesh. I know you want to know where we're from, but you're not telling us where you're from. That's not fair. So where are you from? And everyone else out there, thank you for joining us. And yeah, you want to say anything else?
Yeah, I'm holding in my heart, two things. Like, one is that saying that is very popular in the circles in which we move, is that there's no place that source, spirit, God, universe, whatever you call it, is not. There's no place God is not. And that I understand that as a function of consciousness. So I'm holding that in my heart, and I'm holding in my heart, how do we continue to play while being in our power? Yeah.
Yeah, and I would just add to that by saying, I just encourage the listeners this week to really, check in with yourself, find the play, especially when it doesn't feel like there's play to be had there. That's the time when you really need to check in and just see where can I make that little 1 degree movement to just bring some light and some laughter and some love into my work, my actions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for all my perimenopausal sisters out there, I feel us. I'm so envious of sisters that have already gone through the change. I know I'm changing the subject, but why not play?
That's okay. I mean, I think, if we're playing with that, the metaphysical message there is that, girl, you're hot. So
literally.
You are hot. So just, take it, embrace it, and play with it.
Yes, it burns from the inside and then it just pours out in sweat. Hello.
Okay. Details. Details. That's us. We're girls. What can we say? That's what we talk about, boys. There you go.
We're mature girls. We're very mature girls. So
I'll always be a girl, no matter what. It's just the way I've decided to do it. All right. So next week we'll be back, and we'll pull a new card and see where it takes us. And we invite you to come along with us. So join us here next week at 5:00 Pacific, 6:00 Mountain. You know what happens after that. You do the math.
And that's on Tuesday for you. So for
It's
people
on Tuesday for me,
my side of the hemisphere, Wednesday at 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time.
That's right. So whether you wake up with us or whether you're getting ready to wind down with us, just come be with us.
Yes.
And I think we'll see you next week. I think that's all we got to say. If you want to join us tomorrow on Rockin' the Love, we'll be here at sometime like noon Pacific. I told you, it's hard. It spins in my world. Join us here. Just join us on New Thought Media Network. There's so many great shows, and we're all waiting to meet you and see you and connect with you, because it's really all about you and what you do out there in the world. That's why we're here. So we're sending you lots of love, lots of blessings, and we'll see you next week.
Peace and blessings, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.